Thanks for staying with us. As the holiday approaches, a lot of kids may be asking for smartphones or cell phones or tablets, and the industry has to deal with this a lot. When is it appropriate for a kid to have a phone like that? So to talk to us about it today is Kelly Starling with AT&T. Thanks for joining us, Kelly.
Thanks
Good to have you back again.
Me. It's always great to be here.
This is a really important topic. Kids and cell phones, when do you let them have it?
It is.
How do you protect them from using it the wrong way?
Right, because trust me, there are kids already putting it at the top of the wish list. You and I just talked about that. So if you're a parent who's decided, okay, I'm okay now with my child having a cell phone, we encourage them to do what we call a cell assessment before they even go in a store and start shopping. You know, think about it. You know, how am I going to want my child to use this phone? Is it mostly for safety purposes, so I can keep track knowing they got home from the bus stop? Are you okay if your child's going to be on the internet or playing games and downloading things? Try to make sure you know before you go in, because if you want it strictly for a safety device and one where they can just communicate with voice and text, then maybe all you need is a quick messaging device. Or if you are fine with them using data and going on the internet, then you'll want to look for a smartphone. So kind of know all that before you go out looking for the device. The other thing to consider is, where is your child going to be using the device? Make sure that you have good coverage. All the providers have coverage maps on their websites. Go and check. Also ask, what is the return policy? How many days does your child have to test drive that device and make sure that it is going to work where they need it to work? For a lot of parents, it's about budget, and they don't want to get into a contract. And a good option for that, and I say especially for a new user, is a prepaid device, something like a Go phone, where you buy a certain amount of minutes. Once they're through with them, they're through with them until there's more minutes purchased. And you can also use it as a lesson for kids. You can say, all right, here's your device. Mom and Dad have loaded it with this many minutes. When the minutes are out, the only way we will refill them is if you do, you know, well on your report card, or if you want to use more minutes, you're going to have to find a way to make some money to buy more minutes. Maybe you help Dad in the yard or something. But that's a good option if the parent really wants to stay on top of budget and they don't want to worry about a contract and it's, you know, a new device for the first time. The other thing, and you and I were just talking about this, is take advantage of parental controls. There may be a minimal monthly fee for those, but it is worth the peace of mind you get. A lot of parents give their kids devices and then they don't really supervise them. They don't know what they're doing on them. And if you give them a smartphone, again, they could be out on YouTube. They could be out on YouTube. They can get access to content you don't want them to have access to.
The whole world is out there of anything.
Right, and once things are out there, it's hard to get them off. So you need to seriously talk to your kids if you're giving them a smartphone where they have all the bells and whistles and have access to social media accounts and internet. You need to talk to them about the do's and don'ts and set boundaries. But parental controls will help you do that. Like smart limits, you can go in, the parent can, from a desktop, from a tablet or phone, and you can block up to 30 numbers reaching that device. You can determine the hours a day that you want it to be used. So for instance, if you don't want them using it during school, I know it's against the rules, but to play it safe, you could say from 9 to 3, no calls or texts to or from this device. If you want them to only use it, you know, when it's after school coming home from the bus stop, you can do that. You can say, okay, I'm okay with $5 worth of downloads this month or $0 worth of downloads. It really lets the parents have the control in determining what that child's experience is going to be and give you peace of mind knowing they're not out there on some site where there's inappropriate content. Because we can't be with them 24/7.
So often the kids are more tech savvy than the parents. They grow up in this world, they know these things, they learn it from other kids.
Right.
Kids can they get around these barricades that you put up, these firewalls?
Maybe if you have like some up and coming, you know, Steve Jobs, but I mean for like the little kids, I just told you about the story I read this morning, the survey about all these kids that are using mobile devices unsupervised, and they were talking about 1-year-olds and 2-year-olds.
1-year-olds unsupervised,
yes,
on the internet.
Yes, on the internet, and you don't know what they're going to come across or anything. So the parental controls would give you peace of mind that, you know, your child, you know where your child is and what they have access to. And so take advantage of the parental controls. It is so, so important. And ask your provider, you know, what parental controls are available to me. There's even location-based services out there so that when your child gets off the bus, you know what time they're supposed to be home. You can set it up so that you get alerts that will show you on a map where your child's device is, so you know, okay, good, so he's en route home, he's where he's supposed to be. So ask about location-based services too. It's worth it, because not only would those controls give you peace of mind, but they also can help you save money in the long run as well, especially if you're saying, I only want this device used during these hours and only these things to be allowed on this device.
So you limit the data.
Well, right, like if you're limiting downloads, if you're limiting right, what they can do with the device during the day, when they can use the device, all that can also help you with cost. But the most important part is it's going to give you peace of mind knowing that your child's not out there possibly being exposed to content that they should not be exposed to and giving out information they shouldn't give out. You know, it's just a scary, the cyber world is a scary place. There has got to be supervision there. The other thing is, if the whole family is with the same provider and you're going to get your child, say you're okay with a smartphone, you've got to have data when you get a smartphone, it's required, then you might want to consider one of the plans that lets you share data, like mobile share value. Like right now, my mother, my husband and I, we share data, because there's always going to be someone who uses more than the other, and that's a good economical way to go. So consider something like that, and think about the tools that you have if you want to keep track of the usage as your child is using it. All the providers have shortcuts. Like you can, with an AT&T phone, you can say star min pound. It'll tell you how many minutes have been used or how many are left, or star data pound to let you know how much data has been used. So there are tools right there at the fingertips to kind of, again, so you don't get the sticker shock or have data overages. No one wants that when they open their bill each month.
Sounds like the cell phone providers, your company included, are always looking to stay ahead of the curve.
To try, right, to give the tools. Like we have an online data calculator. If you're going to get your kid a smartphone, you know it needs data, you can go in there and it will help you figure out how much data you think that child's going to use, so you'll know what to buy. Like it might ask, are they going to be streaming music? Are they going to be watching videos? Because all those things, video and music, are very data intensive. So it gives you an idea of how much data you would need, so you know what kind of a package to get. Because with all smartphones, you're required to get data because you have access to the internet. So.
Right. But it's good to know it's a two-edged sword. It's a great tool to keep track of them, be in touch, know that they're safe.
Right.
On the other hand, this great danger awaits for them to get into anything that they shouldn't be involved with. And
so use the parental controls. That was the thing that was so alarming about that story, is some of the parents even said they were letting their kids go to bed with their devices. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, and not even thinking of parental controls, because they're so worried. They want their kids to be tech savvy. You know, they're giving 1-year-olds devices, you know, and it's amazing what they can do on it, and they're proud of that, but, you know.
Got to have those controls.
Yeah.
You got to be watching it.
Absolutely.
Good tool, but important to use it properly.
Absolutely.
Wow, very important. Do you have some of this information listed somewhere on a website? Or
we actually have tips. It's go to att.com. Smart limits /smart limits. That talks about all the different controls for wireless devices, for internet, for your television, because I even have them on my television, which drives my husband crazy. So yes, att.com /smart limits. Lots of different parental controls out there.
And the other
apps.
Major carriers are doing this too. I know it's not just an AT&T thing.
Right, absolutely. So whoever your provider is, they all offer some form of parental controls, which is why I'm saying when you go in to look for your child, one of the first things you should ask is, okay, tell me about what parental controls are available, how do they work, is there a fee involved? Definitely ask up front.
Very good.
Because everyone has them.
Really good advice, very important for people to keep this in mind. They may just innocently not quite realize how much that phone can do. There are probably parents who don't realize that's a full computer, just like any desktop computer.
On the go.
Can get anywhere, get anything, and it's not just a couple of phone and a few and text.
Right.
A lot more to it than that. Well, Kelly Starling with AT&T, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Giving us some very important advice here. We hope people will take that into consideration as the holidays come and they're maybe looking for phones for the kids.
Right.
Great.
Me too. Thank you.
And we'll be back after this quick message, so stay with us.